What's up, fisher people? On the lake again this morning, and what are we gonna do? I don't know. My plan was to talk about like early summer transition walleyes and see how many different lures we can catch them on, because when they're transitioning, some are doing this, some are doing that. You might be able to catch some pitching jigs, some pitching plastics. They're starting to bite bottom bouncers and crawlers really well. You can catch them on crankbaits. You could probably catch them on jigging wraps. But again, we have a hot, absolutely no wind day on Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota, and I just cannot figure this out for the life of me. We're just like stuck in this tropic zone thing. That was a little white bass or something of weather here. So fish are probably going to be scattered. We're going to have to move to find them. I would imagine the bottom bouncers and crawlers are going to be the best thing, but I'm going to try some other stuff. Maybe get the camera on the side image after a while, talk about what's going on the side image, just see what develops, because I know the bite's really good. The fish are hungry. It's June 7th. We're in the middle of the peak post-spawn bite sort of thing. So when we find fish, they should bite pretty good. It just might not be a thing we can pattern with a bunch of different stuff. It might turn into just dragging crawlers around. So we'll let the fish tell us what they want, but now at least you know my intentions and what I'm going to try to do. And we're probably going to be off the water before noon, because it's supposed to be 90 degrees without a breath of wind. So let's see what we can accomplish between 8:27 and about noon. There must not be any fish where I am right here. I might have to keep moving. So how do you know when it's time to switch to crawlers, by the way? Well, 70-degree water is a pretty good indicator, but I think the biggest driver really is like when you start getting the bug hatches and then you get all the bug larvae in the lake, then they start to look for larva-like stuff, and night crawlers kind of fit that bill. And you can see the shells of the larva hatch stuff on the surface of the water. It kind of looks like you got a bunch of like planty, grassy kind of stuff floating around. Some of it certainly can be, but a lot of it's the remains of bug hatch stuff. And that usually happens when you're about at that upper 60s to 70 degree range. At least here anyway. I would imagine it's similar other places. And then there'll be a little bit of crossover maybe where you can still get jigs and minnows to work, especially in the morning. And more crawlers in the afternoon sort of thing. I think this spot's dead. I'm gonna have to move. Turn the old side image cam on. See what we can show you on there. So we're in what? 7 feet of water. And you got a fish over there. You can see this bottom stuff looks kind of like mossy ripply. There's probably a lot of mossy stuff down there. Not like full tall weeds, just low-lying moss kind of thing. And eventually there's a little like rocky humpy island coming up here. These marks kind of look white bassy, smallmouth bassy to me. Shorter, rounder shaped things. There's 5 boats further up here on this structure. There's some fish on the right that I like. Toss out there. Fish on the left that looks good. I think we got a few walleyes circling this little hump. You can see how this looks real bright now. A little blood on my hands too. That's a harder bottom. There's no big rocks down there, but it's probably gravel. Harder bottom shines bright. The muddier stuff is a darker color. She's dead over here. Are we gonna have to get in the crowd of boats to catch fish? Hopefully not. Another thing I did with my bottom bouncer, being in this shallow water, is I shortened up that leader a little bit. I tie them all pretty long in the winter. And then if I'm fishing this 6 to 8, 9 feet of water, I shorten them up to about, I don't know, 3 feet. Otherwise, if you got a 6-foot leader, especially if you have a spinner, it starts to float way up, and it might be, you know, halfway up the water column, which is probably not necessarily where a walleye is going to chase it, especially if it sees your boat. So trying to keep it down there a little bit. Change of scenery. Fish on. Wow, nice fish too. White bass. Not the plan. This feels right. That's a walleye. That's a nice one. On the crawler bouncer. Boy, it's been busy. Ran into a pack of crazy smallmouth. Didn't get any on camera. Hit them all with my plastics. But it was kind of nuts. And now we got a walleye. Looking a little thin compared to what I'm used to. I don't see a ton here, but that one did anyway. What a mess. Little group of fish out to the right side. Let's see if I can get them on the plastic. Or is it going to be a crawler only bite today? Maybe we'll have to try a jig and a crawler. Ooh, now both sides are lighting up a little bit. This is looking pretty good. Just got to the tip of a point on another flat. Lots of fish marks. Still scattered fish marks, but there's one. Scattered fish marks, but lots for a scattered day. Oh, he got off. Too much going on. I might just have to stick to the crawler. It'd be fun to try to get them on both, but that could end up being a lot of work. That could end up being a ton of work. About 7 foot of water was the deal there. I'll keep moseying through and see if more show up. Hopefully you saw those fish on the left side of the graph that bit my bottom bouncer. They're only 10-20 feet outside the boat there. We might just like not really have a plastic bite this year. We're gonna go like straight from jig and minnows to bouncers and crawlers. Skip a season. It got so hot so fast. You can see the water temp 75 degrees here today. Some fish on the bottom bouncer side. And a lot of times when you're trolling this shallow stuff with bottom bouncers, like you'll just see fish. You might not run right over a lot of fish, but if you're seeing them 20, 30, 40 feet out on your sides, a lot of times they're still tracking things and you're still going to catch them. You don't have to go right over top of them, and a lot of times you won't. And I'm just using a plain crawler. I don't even have a spinner on it, so we're at the end of that nose. We'll have to spin on them. Go through one more time, see what happens. If you don't get another bite, we'll move to find new fish. Now I'm seeing this loaded up pretty good. Got that one on half, or like a quarter of a night crawler. Changed my jig rod to a crawler. Lots of fish, shallower than 5 feet. Real shallow. That's a lot of fish though, look at that. Both sides. It felt like a grab and let go. There's another fish there. Yeah, you can tell by that side imaging we're on them. That's pretty good stuff there. That's a smallmouth bass though. They're all gonna be up here in the spring. Oh, yeah. Barely hooked too. Tanker. Time to focus on the bouncer. Too many things going on. That's what's working. We're gonna get real shallow. Real shallow. Ooh, that's a big fish right here probably. I'll give that one a chance. Some more on the right, even shallower than we are. There's one right there. That's a smallmouth. I only brought like 8 crawlers just because I wanted to try to do a bunch of different stuff and I didn't have a lot left. If I had clients, I'd obviously bring more. Jeez, busy fishing. Jeez. They're up here in the shallows. In the shallows. That one's a walleye. Well, that's the deal. 5 feet of water, bottom bouncer, plain hook crawler, and just crushing them. I don't have to show you more side imaging shots. You've seen 100 fish in the last couple. We're there. Bottom bouncer crawler season. It's what it is. I think these fish have actually slid in shallower as the day's gone on. It's still not to the point where they're moving deeper because of warmth. It's quite the opposite. And we actually finally have a little bit of breeze here. There's a little bit of wind push. Barely, but a little. So they're sneaking up here into 3, 4, 5 feet. Now there's some way shallower. Jeez. Turn that on quick. Plenty of shallow fish. God, I want to cast at those, but I can't get them to bite. I got the jig and shadow wrap here. Maybe we'll hit a jig and shadow wrap. I wish these things weren't quite so big though. You got a nice slow fall for spring, which is great, but they're pretty big baits. I like to fish smaller stuff in the spring usually. See, oh, something ticked it. I would imagine it had to be a smallmouth or a white bass that just thumped it a little bit. Oh, that's a bigger fish. That's a bigger one. You can catch big ones on crawlers too, that's for sure. I'm gonna need to get this net up here, I think. Get the net in position. Slow the boat down a little bit. And since we pretty much figured out the deal, and it's hot outside, if we can land a big walleye, I might call it a day. It's definitely big and like a walleye, but I think it's a walleye. Yeah, it is. It's a nice walleye. Loosen that drag a little bit. You can see the walleye on the side imaging right now too, thrashing over here. That's always kind of cool. Not a giant, maybe a 1920. Good fish. There's the hook, sir. Oh, the hook went through you. It's like sewing. Little drinky poo. Nice fish there. Nice fish. Back down he goes. Now let's maybe see if we can catch a little bigger one. As we cruise up here, it's still just loaded with fish. 5, 6 feet and shallower. You can see these are on the shallow side. So shallower than 5 feet. And it's going to be a lot of, like, there's going to be carp, smallmouth, white bass, walleyes, pike, suckers, everything. But there's going to be enough walleyes out here. Now we see some on the deep side where the bottom bouncer is. There's a bunch more shallow again. Jeez. They're all in this one spot today. Left and right now. So, boy, if you don't get a bite out of that, I don't know. Unless those are all carp, something should hit. Goodness sakes. Alive. That is so many fish. Oh, it's just stacked in here. Plastic wasn't working. Of course, we weren't around as many fish when we were throwing it before. Let's do a quick spin on those fish. Try the bouncer and the plastic. Just littered with fish still. Goodness sakes. Can I get one on the plastic before the bottom bouncer goes off? And I need to tend to that. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, we are around more fish now, so there's more chances to get this plastic hit. These flat calm days are often much better for rigging live bait, for sure. Whether it's crawlers or minnows. Oh, now the left side's where I want to be. Unless those are carp, which they certainly could be. I'm guessing there's a lot of carp in here too. There we go. Oh, he came off. Oh, he thumped it good and didn't stay on. Oh, dang it. That stinks. That was like one pop and he hit it. Wonder what that was. Now I gotta keep trying. Plenty of fish out there again. It must be like white bass or little smallmouth. I'm intrigued now though. Why can't one stay on? Because they're not walleyes, probably. That one felt fairly heavy, but when you're moving like that and setting a hook, it could have been a 10-inch white bass. It's hard to say. There you go. And I'm just gonna throttle lock on this one. All of a sudden the plastic's lighting up. What do we got? I gotta keep blind tight. He's not staying tight very well. Keeps running out here. Hunkering down. I flip my bottom ouncer hook into the net. That's a bad mistake. There we go. There we go. It is a Walter. And he bit it in the mouth. Oh, there he goes. Too much going on. I don't know if you saw that, but it was like a 17-inch walleye. The line was wrapped around his head too, so he kind of flipped funny and off it went. Holy cow. I came a little further back in the bay just to check some stuff, dropped a night crawler, and instant walleye. Goodness sakes. That was fast. So we can find them on some other stuff. It's one thing to note too, like right now the water is rising. And as the water does rise, fish will fill up some of this backwater stuff. So it's worth a look. Glad I came. Still looks healthy. Wow, that was quick. Better fish here for a couple more minutes to validate that, but I saw a bunch of them inside everything. Just like the other spot, it was loaded. As soon as I got it back down, there's another one. They're loaded back here too. Yikes, feisty walleye. Should have been fishing here all day. Got it all to myself. Nobody back here. Nobody. Walleyes to myself. It's a bouncer thing. Well, it's hot already this morning, and I think we accomplished what we were trying to do. We were trying to figure out these early summer transition fish. We found them up really shallow, not really biting the minnows anymore, hitting the bounder monsters and the night crawlers, shallow flats, and a few on the plastics. I think the plastics could be better if that wind blows. If it doesn't, it's probably a rigging bite. So hopefully you like this video. If you did, you know what to do, and we'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching. Oh, it's so hot out here. Later, picture people. It's only early June. And it's every day. Every day is a scorcher. No wind. I shouldn't complain. I'm still fishing.